Hi, it's Eliana. So, some of the satellite footage and other video sources potentially reveal that the MH370 flight might have not been involved in an explosion because the heat signature, it's not hot. It's cold in the thermal flare imaging. So the plane could have gone into a wormhole or a black hole because it was being followed by the spheres, by 3 to 4 spheres around the plane. That as it was flying, then it disappeared in the blink of an eye in the clouds. So it does not have a logical explanation of what happened. It's also not cloaking anything because the smoke stops when the plane disappears. So there could have been a fire on the plane, but it didn't explode. And as there was that opening in the sky and the plane disappeared, both on the thermal imaging and the other satellite. So there was several videos of this going on, black and white and thermal with heat signatures. And it wasn't a hot heat signature, it was a cold one on the thermal imaging. So there could have been teleportation involved in this based on teleportation based science because theoretically wormholes and black holes can exist. So the plane could have gone through a wormhole. So science says that transversible wormholes are theoretically possible. This singularity is causing a transitional phase state change in the plane, potentially, where it reverts to a wave function and obtains a probabilistic nature effect, where a plane can disappear suddenly in the sky because it goes through a time-space dilation frequency, time that is really out of time that can be caused by either natural phenomenon or potentially wormhole technology that's being used to move objects from one place to another. This is only possible with superconductivity and free energy technology. And there's different kinds of projects and programs in reverse engineering facilities on Earth and off Earth that likely have this type of technology. So having footage, satellite footage of what potentially could have happened in 2014 with that particular flight is interesting to investigate. And the fact that there's spheres, orb spheres, flying around the plane in both satellite footage, and this was a secret satellite actually. It hasn't been officially declassified, so having spheres around that particular plane would maybe have something to do with that wormhole technology and how it functions in activating a wormhole gate portal in the middle of the sky to transport the plane. The spheres could have something potentially to do with that as part of the technology, or they were just following and monitoring the plane. There's several possibilities here of what could have happened and why. So I think it's worth really studying the footage and looking at it further and to try to understand this kind of technology and the implications of what this technology could mean, where it comes from, who has been able to reverse engineer it, how it's being used, and why. And if this could potentially be a natural phenomenon, most likely it is a technology, wormhole technology, and superconductivity that likely has something to do with those spheres and the energy frequency they could have been emitting with gravity engines powering them, because there's no known propulsion system that flies that quickly and is able to follow a plane and maneuver around it in such spheres. And these types of metallic spheres, reflective spheres, orb spheres, they have been sighted in North America. They've been sighted in parts of the Middle East around military installations. So it's not the first time there's been sightings and witness reports. There's been witness reports since 1966 about civilians and military spotting these types of spheres or orbs, glowing orbs, flying around objects and planes, following the planes or monitoring environmental situations where there could be portals. So I just wanted to give a bit further information about the subject and do some explaining about theoretical science that transdimensional and transversible wormholes, black holes, and white holes are possible. So they can be like a tear in the sky that opens up, transports an object from one place to another, where it totally disappears and it's gone off radar, off satellite, but it's tracked that it disappeared into something, like it was tracked with that particular plane from a secret satellite. And the footage was obtained, and people have studied it. It's an interesting phenomenon that deserves further study. In terms of the cloud dynamics in the both satellite and other videos of the MH370 Malaysia flight, potentially disappearing into a wormhole or a black hole with the spheres following it, there's only short videos of what the satellite captured because it's a secret satellite footage. Somebody pointed out to me that the clouds are not moving in both the black and white and the flare thermal red imaging. Clouds can move in very slow motion. So capturing dynamics of cloud movement on video or photographs, cloud movement is very slow. It is hard to determine how fast or slow clouds move, depending on the size of the clouds, if there's rain inside the clouds. So just because you don't see any dynamic cloud movement in about a minute and a half of video footage, that doesn't mean the clouds weren't moving at all. If there was longer footage, we probably would see cloud movement. So there is variations of why you don't see cloud movement in a minute and a half of video footage. Clouds can move very slowly, and you have to film a lot of footage to see cloud movement, because again, they move slowly. And if the clouds are bigger or smaller, that also depends on cloud movement, how much the clouds will move every couple of minutes or even half an hour, and if that's captured on video. And if you have video that's running for a couple of hours, you might catch some cloud movement. If you have only video running 1 to 5 minutes, you might not capture any cloud movement. It depends on what's going on environmentally in the sky at the time when filming something, an event, an object in the sky. Also, the reason why people see a lot of cloud movement on the weather forecasting is because there's animation involved in projecting the movement of weather phenomenon, how fast something is going to move. There's animation projection software involved, so it's moving things quicker to project a potential reality of the weather. Whereas, say if NASA is taking video of the Earth or photos and there's clouds, it might be very slow moving motion picture that's captured on video, because clouds can move very slowly. So you need hours of footage to capture cloud movement. And it also depends on your equipment, how good your video equipment is, or photography equipment, DSLR camera, 4K video in capturing dynamic cloud movements, dynamic images in the sky. So it also really depends on what you capture in video in terms of clouds and objects, how fast something is moving, how fast the clouds are moving, or very slowly. Usually clouds move slowly, and you would need animation software to project and determine potential variables for weather patterns with clouds, whether you'll have sunshine or rain on which date or times throughout the day. So there's a lot of things involved in the variations of why you might not see clouds moving in video footage, as it could take you hours to film that, to see a pattern even of cloud movement, and to determine whether the clouds are moving fast or slow. If there's a weather storm moving in, clouds will be moving in way quicker. If it's a nice sunny day, clouds will be moving very slowly. So it really depends on the weather forecasting, the systems, what's going on in the environment of what you will get with cloud movement. Just because somebody did not see cloud movement in that footage of that airplane being potentially taken into a wormhole or something else of a portal-like nature or technology, doesn't mean it's not a real video just because there's no cloud movement at the time that the two videos were shot. It just means you need more footage to determine how much cloud movement that was. I don't have that footage. There's no extended footage. There's 1 minute and a half of what we have to work with here. And it's still interesting footage because there's a lot to figure out from it. Thank you so much.